Welcome back. I'm Brandon, joined by Zepsi, both with the HBAR Foundation, here to give you the latest in the Hedera ecosystem. Today, we wanted to give a flash update on the massive spike we've seen in transaction volume on the Hedera network. Welcome, Zep.
How's it going, Brandon?
It's going really good today. I've been having fun watching what's going on. So, just to let everybody know what is happening, the previous record as far as transactions in one day stood at about 9 million transactions on the Hedera network. We are well over 14 million transactions right now. It all started with a spike that we saw at about 3 a.m. Eastern, where we saw the transaction volume ramp up from, a few transactions per second up to over 600 transactions per second. It stayed there for a few hours and then jumped up even higher, going to between 7 and 800 transactions per second, which it held for about an hour, and then it came back down to just over 500 transactions per second. It held there for about 45 minutes, and then now it leveled off again at about 600 transactions per second, and that's where we stand at the moment. The max transactions is about 1,400 transactions per second that we've seen so far, though a few members have seen it spike as high as 5,000 transactions per second. I'm not sure if that's a difference between the way it's measured on a couple different sites, but still impressive either way. What we know at this point is it's a test of a real world use case that's planning on deploying on Hedera. So this is not just a test of the Hedera network. The test is supposed to last between 8 and 10 hours. And again, that initially started about 3 a.m. Eastern today, November 11th. Zep, do you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, what a thing to wake up to, you know. I think our TPS is coming down slightly, and then all of a sudden we're back in Valhalla. And I think someone in Telegram actually posted a screenshot of Hedera transactions, which is Mr. Lemonbird's website that tracks, the data of all the transactions on Hedera network. And he screen grabbed 5,001 TPS. I think, if I remember correctly, the highest ever caught was 1372 by AdStacks. At least that's what it says on their website.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that is just like, that is, it's almost like an incomprehensible number when you think about how many transactions that actually is going out a second. And I was looking at so Real TPS, which is a website which tracks like the actual real TPS of ledgers, including Solana's, when you take away some of the methodology they use to sort of inflate the way they count it. And we're now, leagues ahead of anyone else. I think XLM was at about 250 when I checked. And this data is refreshed every day, so it's not in time like Hedera transactions is. But we are now leagues ahead of anyone else, like I said. And I hope, I think, like we said, it might just be testing for the moment, but it's definitely a positive indicator of things to come. And we hate that word soon, but this is obviously something that is happening, and on a scale that is actually higher than I thought it would be. If this is the kind of numbers we're looking at. So this is really good news and very exciting.
Yeah, exciting for sure. I will say that the time to consensus has creeped up a little bit during this test. It went from just under 5 seconds to just under 6 seconds. Now, that doesn't mean that's where it's going to stay. It can be tuned. Lehman has proven that in the past, that it can be tuned and brought back down depending on what's going on in the network. But I did just want to mention that if anybody in the audience wants to go and check for themselves, we use two sources. We use Metrica. You can go on there. They track all this information and it's charted out really nicely. If you want a snapshot of the current transaction throughput, you can check out Hedera txns.com. And I know the community loves to go on there to get that snapshot of what it's doing at any point in time. So we're expecting this test to last until midday East Coast US, and then it probably will drop off. But again, it's in anticipation for that real world use case to come online in the not so distant future. All right, Zep, do you have anything else before we let you go?
Uh I would like to think that, given, obviously we're in a bit of a market turmoil at the moment, given that CZ rugged SBF and then sort of moved into his house. And obviously our timing is not always impeccable. I think when we announced Atmo, like when we actually announced Atmo is when Luna rugged. And then when we start seeing it ramping up, CZ rugs SBF. So hopefully when it finally comes in and it's more than just a test, if that's what this is, then it'll be in great, clearer skies, So in a way, perhaps if this just is a test, that could work in our benefit given the market chaos at the moment. And hopefully maybe once that clears up a bit, once that noise dies down, the CoinDesk and everyone will be able to get the spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah, no question about that. The last time the market was here back in early 2021, the value of the Hedera network between then and now is just exponential, right? It's become amazing how much has been developed between then and now. So, and that's the opportunity, right? The difference between where the market stands and the value of the network, that's the potential going forward. So it's really exciting. But I do want to thank everybody for coming on and watching, and subscribe if you want the latest coverage of Hedera news and events. Again, thanks for swinging by, Zep, and we'll see you in a couple days for that weekly update.
For sure. Catch you in a bit, Brandon.